Thank you.
Thank you.
For those that want to stay, we'll do a Q&A, especially the Truth Fairy is here to answer your questions. Though I have to ask the sound people, should we switch to our sound system, or do you have enough energy? You're okay? Oh, okay. Fantastic. So stick around. Let's ask the Truth Fairy. Who has a question, and he will answer it in 3 minutes.
You can ask Patch Adams a question. He will answer it in 5 hours.
5 hours. It'll be free.
That's true. Anything you ever wanted to ask of either of us that in any other setting you wouldn't have the courage? The best thing I see happening around the world is that we are still here, and that in spite of the nature of its trials and everything that steals from us our joy, a growing xenophobia and mistrust of people, that we still dare to imagine that there's a place you can come that reminds us that our thoughts are free and that we need to find more ways to celebrate in community like this instead of staged events and sporting events that co-opt an enormous amount of money for whatever productivity. I think
You know, the most amazing thing to me, and I go all over the world, war zones, refugee camps, I see a huge amount of the horror, and the most amazing thing to me is woman. You know, wherever I go, the women are working. No matter how badly behaved men are, women are working. They're doing unbelievable things. We were in Haiti right after the earthquake, and holy moly, we took music there, and 98% of the women instantly were dancing and celebrating and being alive. If I do that in an American shopping mall, 20% is a good response, and arrest is guaranteed. So, you know, wherever I go, I know there are good men. It's not the majority. We males have done a lot of doo-doo. It's time we watched mothers and emulated them.
How should babies be born to support what you're talking about? Free birth.
Babies should continue to be born. And we should continue to be able to transmit some ethic of morality from one generation to the other. In Indian country, they say if you can tell your stories to your grandchildren that you heard from your great-grandfather, then your tribe will survive. We need to be telling better stories from generation to generation that remind us that we are not here alone. This place does not belong to us. We belong to it. And we need to somehow tell those stories better.
Oh. You know, I've been in over 2,000 orphanages. Almost nothing breaks my heart like children and even the best of orphanages. You know, maybe think about if you're going to have a kid, for every kid you have, adopt 3. You know, and we're at a time when we don't need to have a lot of children ourselves. And I'll tell you, you kind of can pick them, right? I'm not just talking about boogers. You can go to an orphanage and go, that one, that one. So, you know, go watch a movie, Who Are the Dieboldts? Because they had 4 normal children and adopted a dozen with no arms and legs and with disabilities you cannot believe. And the film is about how happy they live. Adopt children. Oh, great schools. I'm sorry. We have schools that make the stuff we leave in these Johnny on the spots look like, you know, the best banquet. So let's make our schools look great. Yes.
Well, I wanted to ask, why do children ever grow up? I don't want to grow up.
Yay. You're in the right place for that.
Let me ask you this. if we are both doctors, do you get a sense from looking at us that one of the options is not to grow up? If we're giving you the impression that so one of the things you see is when you grow up, you can eat your friends' boogers. Oh! Adulthood is not for everybody. It's certainly not for me. You are my age group.
Adulthood is for everybody, and childhood is for everybody. And you got to find a way to be where you are, because otherwise you're always wanting to be someplace other than where you are, which makes wherever you are never enough. Are you with me? You got to find some way to be there. You want to be where you are, I want to be where you are, and sometimes I get there, like now. I thought, oh, if I could somehow dress in pink, like I knew I would see you, then I could be 7, 8, 9, 8. And now sometimes I am actually over 70. It's true. And sometimes I am still only 8. But you got to find a way to be happy where you are. And I think it's wonderful that you are. Be happy where you are. It's wonderful where you are. Be happy where you are. It's wonderful where you are so far.
So now that you know you can stay a child, protect it. Yes.
So what would you say out there to young adults and teenagers that are really struggling with their mental health, really trying to find power and find a way to be stable and independent, but at the same time successful and healthy? That's a very loaded question. Let's see how you handle that one.
You've got 3 minutes.
3 minutes. 3 minutes with the Truth Fairy, who happens to be a psychiatrist, you know.
Okay, that's 15
Ki- What you? It's true. I may not be able to say it in 3 minutes. Kids, young people, young adults. I mean, all of us have feelings. We have grown to believe that somehow our feelings have to be compartmentalized or channeled in some predetermined way. You got to find a way to own who it is you are in truth and surround yourself in community with other people who remind you that you're not alone. We live in a civilization in which there is escalating loneliness. You think you're the only one there. But there has to be a willingness to own your truth so that you can seek out others to share theirs. Find people who you can tell your truth to so that you are reminded that you're not alone. We need to band together and stop buying that crap that they sell on television about you may have a disease. 1 in 6 kids, as I told you, is labeled with a disease, given potent drugs. And because we don't have time to spend more time with young people, don't buy that crap. If you're feeling anything less than wonderful, find a way to deal with it. There are a lot of people who are going to help you. And this idea that we can build community and find each other, stay the strength. You remind us that somehow we will not be co-opted by other people's definition of what's right or wrong, or acceptable or unacceptable. And it's a source of privilege for us to be able to see you stand here and to say it publicly.
I mean, the most honest truth I say is, if you have food and a friend, what are you bitching about? Yeah. So, you know, I think the most important thing in life from all the interviewing and life I've experienced are your friends. And anyone can become a grandmaster friend. You know, you can get unbelievably great as friends, and you've got over 7 billion people to experiment with. The idea that anyone is lonely is an embarrassment. I mean, I just assume the person is a rock. You know, damn it, get out there and make friendship connections and stop at 1,000 and take a breath when you have 1,000 friends. And, you know, one of the things I like to do is I like to take young people in the United States to the worst of human suffering. I like them to hold starvation in their arms and tell me then what their problems are. I like them to go and to see the horror and to see if they really actually have any problems. And I want them to see when they go into this suffering and they see whoever they are, however imperfect and however many problems they have, they can relieve the suffering that they are in. And I want them to notice that while they're relieving that suffering, they're not having any. They're not having any, and they can't believe how good it feels to help others. So bust your ass the rest of your life in serving humanity and nature and get high from it.
And Chrissy asks a great question because you may know that there's a wonderful gay lesbian campaign called It Gets Better. Do you know about that? To give young people hope that it gets better, not to kill themselves. It's a wonderful grassroots campaign. Well, Dan Savage has endorsed our new campaign. It's called I Got Better, and it's funded by a grant from the Foundation for Excellence in Mental Health Care. We got a $40,000 grant for this to go out and get stories like Chrissy's out there to tell young people, newly labeled people, not to give up. That I was labeled schizophrenic, psychotic, bipolar. I was told I'd have to be on neuroleptic antipsychotic drugs the rest of my life by a Harvard psychiatrist just sitting there and telling me that. They were wrong, so we want to go to young people and tell them, don't believe the bullshit. Be defiant. There's hope. I got better. We got better. Patch got better. Patch gets better and better every moment. So we have time for maybe one more question.